Hello everyone. Today in this session I'm going to talk about fourth unit of MMPC-20. So here fourth unit, that is ethics in business. That's what I'm going to talk. So now let's start. So the first unit the first topic that is given here, that is introduction. Okay, now in this introduction part, now you can see according to Crane and Matten, so according to these people, Crane and Matten, the following are some of the critical components of business ethics management. Okay, some of the critical components of business ethics management are as follows. Now you can see below the first component, that is given mission and value statement. Second component, that is code of ethics. Third component, that is reporting advice channels. Fourth component, risk analysis and management. Fifth, ethics and vigilance affairs and committees. Sixth given, ethics education and training and finance. And seventh given, financial issues connected to auditing, accounting and reporting. So these are the components, or you can say critical components of business ethics management. It means these things should be analyzed and considered in case of business ethics. And whenever there is a case of managing business ethically, then these things should be considered, because this all components involve ethical decision. Next, there it is given 4.2, that is individual factors in business ethics and leadership. So what are those individual factors which affect business ethics and leadership? So here now you see what given. Every time there is an ethical breakout in corporate organizations, there is a tendency to perceive ethical fallouts as a direct consequence of individual failure. So whenever there it is any kind of ethical breakout in corporate organization, there is a tendency that okay, now whatever that ethical breakout happened, that happened due to individual failure. Okay, but the consequence of that ethical breakout, it may be due to some other reasons also, but generally it is perceived that it is due to individual failure. Managerial decision making is not necessarily a function of individual misconduct, but a manifestation of the significant tension that managers go through during managerial decision making. Now you see, very important point there, it is written that managerial decision making is not necessarily a function of individual misconduct. So it may not be, means, or you can say unethical decision, it may not be due to individual factors. It may be a manifestation of the significant tensions that managers go through during managerial decision making. It means during managerial decision making, managers generally go through many kinds of many kinds and significant tensions. Okay, so these tensions manifest themselves in the form of five binaries. So now here given, so those tensions means there are many kinds of tensions which managers have to understand, or you can say through which the managers have to go through. So you see what are those five you can say forms in which this manifests. So that's why here just below there it is given, these tensions manifest themselves in the form of five binaries. What are these binaries? Personal morality versus professional ethics. It means that it is always dilemma in between these two. So whether the manager is going to follow the personal morality, or whether he is going to do according to professional ethics. Second, given individual versus community. So there also the question it arises whether the manager is going to take decision in accordance with the community guidelines or in accordance with his or her own wishes. So there it is a tension, means that kind of tension it use, or that kind of pressure it builds up inside the mind of a manager. Then the third point, that is this one is the first, second and third, it is given short term versus long term. So the third point, the managers have to think about whether managers should think about the short term goal or the long term, because some stakeholders want short term goals and some stakeholders want long term goals. Fourth reason for tension, that is given the corporate loyalty versus corporate greed. So here also it is a very important point, because corporate loyalty is all about obeying whatever it is the ethical values of the corporate. But in case of corporate greed, it is due to some kind of greed of top management, or you can say the people who have control over the organization. They take decision due to their own wishes. So that's here given. The CEOs, senior management sometimes develop a certain sense of defective reasoning. Okay, the top CEOs and senior management are top management people, so they develop a certain sense of defective reasoning. Sometimes they develop defective reasoning, and on the basis of that defective reasoning they make decisions so which may not be ethical, but due to defective reasoning they thought that okay, this is ethical. Sometimes organizations set impractical goals to achieve certain profits maximization, and also sometimes organizations set impractical goals to achieve certain profit maximization, known as ill-conceived goals. Okay, so organizations set impractical goals to achieve certain profit maximization, and that impractical goals are known as ill-conceived goals. So managers motivated to ignore ethical decisions making is a pursuit. Now you see, again I'm repeating. Managers motivated to ignore ethical decision making in pursuit of ill-conceived goals tend to suffer from a sense of ethical fading. You see here. And those managers who are motivated to ignore ethical decision making in the pursuit of ill-conceived goals, so their organization sets the ill-conceived goal. It means the kind of goals which are very you can say beyond the scope of the organization, and then to achieve that, or you can say toward that goal, the managers try to go, or you can say managers try to achieve those goals, and during this process they tend to suffer, means managers tend to suffer from a sense of ethical fading, because they are not taking decisions in accordance with the ethical principles. They are taking or you can say they are analyzing the situation in accordance with the ill-conceived goal set by the organization. So that ill-conceived, if managers try to achieve those ill-conceived goals, then in that case those managers will have to suffer from a sense of ethical fading. It means they are not genuine, they do not remain genuine in the process of making unethical decisions. So management is about imposing order via meticulous planning and organizing, and leadership is about coping with change. So whenever there is a need to change, then there it comes the leadership. But whenever it is about imposing orders via meticulous planning and organizing, then that's all about management. It means imposing orders via planning and organizing. Then you have organizational wrongdoings. A few individuals were inherently unethical, while some organizations are believed to be inherently toxic. So now you see, some individuals working in the organization may be unethical, means inherently. It means they are on their own are unethical. Okay, unethical. So that's given a few individuals who are inherently unethical, while some organizations are also believed to be inherently toxic. It means they practice unethical unethical kinds of decisions. Understanding wrongdoings gives the impression that organizational wrongdoings are rare, but that is not the case in the real world. Okay, here underreporting. So there it is given. Here I'm talking. Underreporting wrongdoings gives the impression that organizational wrongdoings are rare, but that is not the case in the real world. In the real world, it is not like that organizations are doing less wrong, or it means organizations are not doing wrong. Simply it is perceived that organizations are not doing that much wrong because those wrongdoings are not but means those wrongdoings are not accounted, or you can say those wrongdoings are ignored. So that's here given decentralized structure. Now how the structure, different kinds of a structure can lead to organizational wrongdoings. Just like here given decentralized structure, there you have, this is decentralized structure. Decentralized structure gives ample scope for discussions and debates, and these discussions and debates can lessen, or you can say causes less unethical actions, because whenever there it is the possibility of unethical decision, then in that case some kind of decision can some kind of discussions and debates can be made or can be organized, and then there it is more probability that ethical decisions will be taken. But just opposite to this one, there you have highly centralized organization. Here you have highly centralized organizations. So what about this highly centralized organization? They in highly centralized organization, there is pyramidal politics. Okay, there it is pyramidal politics, means at the top there you have the top just like here CEO, then you have the top management, there you have top management, then after middle level management, then lower level management, then supervisors, then you have workers. So there it is there is possibility of pyramidal politics in highly centralized organization. So power gets concentrated in the hands of the CEO. It means at the top you have CEOs, so the power is concentrated in his or her hand. So pressure from top and lack of moral courage. Okay, since in case of centralized organization, the power is concentrated in the hands of CEO or top management, so that's why there is always the pressure from the top, and there is lack of moral courage from the bottom. So that leads to moral stress, and that moral stress leads to unethical behavior. So ethics, now next point that is given 4.4, that is ethics at workplace and moral muteness. Okay, what is this moral muteness, and what kind of moral ethics required at the workplace? So now for the first there it is point given, moral muteness comes from conflict avoidance approach. So whenever there is the possibility of conflict due to morality of different people, then there is the possibility of moral muteness. Okay, and so that's why here given. So moral muteness comes up from the conflict avoidance approach. It means managers tend to avoid moral conflicts. So that's why given moral overtones at the workplace might lead to your morality versus my morality of conflict. Okay, so now you see moral overtones. It means moral overtones means here if anyone is going to talk about his or her morality or the moral values, then his or her moral values may be in conflict with the moral values of the other person. So that's here given. The moral overtones at the workplace might lead to your morality versus my morality of conflict. Furthermore, managers tend to be constantly under pressure due to constant scanning and microscopic observation. So there it is the mistake. Okay, here it should be microscopic. Here it should be microscopic. Okay. So further, there is managers tend to be constantly under pressure due to constant scanning. It means there is always constant scanning of the behavior of managers or managerial actions. So that also causes moral muteness. It means then managers do not want to talk about morality or moral values. Then you have the next topic, that is ethical issues in relation between government, civil society organizations and business. Means government, civil society organizations and businesses are interrelated, or you can say interdependent on each other. So given that government in democratic societies must face the electorate, public accountability needs to be factored in governments into government dealings with the business. Okay, so now here given the government in democratic societies, government must face the electorate, and due to that electorate, public accountability needs to be factored into government dealings with the business. So whenever there is the dealings in between the government and the business, so there it is always the pressure on the government from the public that if they are not going to deal with the business organization in accordance or in the favor of those people, or you can say in the favor of the public, then in that case during the election, so that it may change, or you can say people will not favor the existing government, or it may go to, they may go to other political parties or political leaders. So that's why here it is so these all three are interlinked. Just like government influences corporate influence governments, and government influence civil society organizations, and civil society organizations influence government, and civil society organizations also influence the corporates. Okay, it means these all things are, means whether government, corporates and civil society organizations, these all are interlinked with each other. It means they all influence, or they all affect the decision of each others. Changing ethical mandate of business. So how ethical mandate of business is changing. So growing awareness about consumer rights, growing awareness about consumer rights, the breathtaking pace of technology development, civil society activism in the form of civil society organizations, and even the state stepping in to strain the blind profit maximization. It means now you see the blind profit maximization objectives of corporates are being restrained, okay, restrained by the government, civil society activism, and technological development. Even the state also stepping into this restraining process of the corporates blind profit maximization objectives. It means they all are civil society activism, uh, technological development, the state, they all are restraining the corporates of from their blind profit maximization objectives. The need of the hour is to reinforce the contra central sorry, the need of the hour is to reinforce the centrality of ethics in managerial decision making. Now you see what is given, to reinforce the centrality of ethics in managerial decision making. It means those who are at the top, okay, those who are at the top should first implement ethical values, then only things can go in the positive direction. So that's there it is given. Executive decision making must be complemented by significant changes in the structure. So there you have structures that will strengthen ethical decision making. So what they mean, executive decision making must be complemented by significant changes in the structures. It means the organizational structure should be in such a way that it will strengthen ethical decision making. So that's all about this fourth unit, that is ethics in business. So I think that's enough for this session. So thank you all. We will see again the next time.